While facing criminal charges throughout the course of 2023 so far, former United States President Donald Trump said this: "Our currency is crashing and will soon no longer be the world standard, which will be our greatest defeat in 200 years. Well, Mr. Trump, you got that right. His warning came as nations' interest in moving toward de-dollarization was increasing. China, Russia, and Brazil have recently joined the growing number of countries that have started down the path of de-dollarization. It was announced in January of 2023 that Iran and Russia will jointly launch a new cryptocurrency that would be backed by gold and used for international trade. In the middle of all this, it's becoming more obvious that a rising number of nations are moving toward de-dollarization. But what is de-dollarization exactly, and why are nations moving in that direction? Let me break it down for you. De-dollarization, as the name suggests, is the process by which nations tend to lessen their dependence on the US dollar as a reserve currency, means of transaction, and unit of account. It goes without saying that the US dollar has long maintained a strong position in the world's financial system, but the recent move towards de-dollarization is a crucial change with important consequences for the future of global commerce, investment, and monetary policy. The world seems to have had their fill of the American dollar, huh? The necessity for a sound and fair financial system is critical as the world grows increasingly linked. And as a result, there are some degree of vulnerabilities and imbalances in the global economy due to the over-reliance on the US dollar as a reserve currency. Many nations are now interested in moving forward with de-dollarization as a result of these causes, as well as the rising economic influence of developing markets and their need for a more diverse and robust financial infrastructure. The US dollar has long been the dominant reserve currency, a position that has solidified with the creation of the Bretton Woods system in the years following World War II. The dollar has enormous benefits as a result of its widespread use in international trade, banking, and investment, including lower transaction costs, decreased exchange rate risk, and the capacity to finance deficits at relatively lower costs. That's not all either. The US economy's size and strength, the US financial market's depth and liquidity, and the view of the US as a bulwark of stability have all contributed to the US dollar's significance. But a number of nations and areas have started down the path of de-dollarization in recent years, motivated by a mix of geopolitical, economic, and strategic factors. China, Russia, Brazil, and the European Union are notable examples of countries that have made the steps to lessen the burden they place on the US dollar in international trade and financial markets. Some nations like China and Russia have worked to lessen the power of the US dollar in an effort to challenge perceived US hegemony and lessen the effects of US sanctions. According to the government officials' posts, other nations, especially those in the Eurozone, have promoted de-dollarization to encourage the use of their currency, the euro, abroad in an effort to improve their global economic status and obtain greater financial autonomy. The goal to promote a more diverse and robust global financial system that is less vulnerable to the peculiarities of a single dominating reserve currency is still another factor. De-dollarization is considered in this context as a way to promote stability and lessen this risk of economic contagion while lowering the hazards connected with an excessive reliance on the US dollar. As the world's reliance on the US dollar declines, viable alternatives must develop, which is why the de-dollarization process is intrinsically tied to the internationalization of other currencies. According to the government officials' tweets, the euro and the Chinese yuan have emerged as the top competitors to take on a larger role in the global financial system. So on one hand, de-dollarization has a number of possible advantages for developing nations. Reducing their dependence on the US dollar could increase their monetary autonomy and decrease their susceptibility to changes in US monetary policy. allowing them to better tailor their policy measures to their domestic economic situations. Additionally, expanding the scope of reserve currencies may act as a cushion against exchange rate swings and reversals in capital flows, which, of course, lowers the probability of financial crisis and enhances overall financial stability. However, de-dollarization also poses difficulties and significant expenses for emerging nations. Developing nations may see more exchange rate volatility as they move away from the US currency, which might have an effect on trade, investment, and capital flows. Additionally, for nations with less established financial systems, developing deep and liquid domestic financial markets, which is a requirement for currency internationalization, could prove to be a daunting undertaking. Additionally, the transition's potential costs, such as modifications to current trade and financial arrangements, could be extremely high and put a burden on already scarce resources. So, what's next? I guess we'll have to sit back, eat some popcorn, and watch the trail of events that may transpire, because the dollar is definitely in danger. For more videos like this, be sure to give this video a like and subscribe to our channel.